Settle for more. The idea for this sermon came from many sources, but also especially a card I received from Dana Taylor and Derek Bumbach that read on the front, "Settle for more." When you opened the card, there was more. More love, more faith, more hope. It felt like the right message for this Thanksgiving as we set the table with our families, our friends, our frenemies. Rather than mourn for what we have lost or what we fear to lose, rather than lick our wounds or fret, what if we instead become very choosy about what we celebrate this year and call it good? In our family, we have long released false narratives of pilgrims shaking hands with Native Americans over a simple meal, a problematic narrative that at least does honor the notion of immigration kind of as central and crucial to our American identity. But it is what we choose to bring over from that story that really matters, that matters now. It's not the food items, which in all likelihood in those days consisted of venison, seafood, probably fowl, nuts, corns, and beans. What we can add to our Thanksgiving table that is still relevant, that is still meaningful, are the abundant blessings of truth, history, and culture. So it might be a good time to learn how that first native tribe of Massachusetts and Rhode Island, the Wampanoag, the Mashpee Wampanoag people, the people of first light, have survived under a few hundred years of occupation and oppression. It's not by celebrating the holiday known as Thanksgiving, I will tell you that. These days, the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe has other concerns. According to their tribal newsletter, they are holding a clan mothers meeting as we speak, as I speak right now. It started at 10:30 a.m. and it runs every Sunday. On Monday, tomorrow, they'll offer a health insurance enrollment support workshop to take folks through the process of getting insured before the end of the year. On Tuesday, they are calling for a meeting of the East Door Nurturing Fathers support group because, as they say, raising our tribal children is an awesome responsibility, and we need to help by building, sharing, teaching, and learning together. They write in their newsletter, raising tribal children in a good way is how we grow as a tribal nation and break generational abuse. We're here to help you be the difference and the change. The program will be led by our spiritual leader, medicine man, Earl Guy Cash, and will be held at the tribe's Community and Government Center on Monday. As of today, there are 3,200 registered members of the Wampanoag tribe. And a huge section of their newsletter is devoted this week not to rehashing the old Thanksgiving story, but to electoral politics. They make it a point to stay connected, deeply connected to their legislators and their governor, and to run for office themselves, and to elect their own leadership with care and collective power, and to educate themselves about the issues that most affect them, and especially the sacred land, which is their home, which is all of our home. They still consider themselves very much the protectors of the land. Now, in the coming years, we may be drawing our own playbooks, our inspiration, and our rituals from colonized people who have learned the art of survival, have learned how long a generation lasts, have taught themselves how to hold sacred that which is most vital and most central to their people. So, when you decide what to celebrate at the table this year, choose well. Celebrate settling for more. Celebrate the wisdom of your ancestral tradition, some of which comes to you in the form of a recipe for bread or other festive foods. And as you taste the bread of your grandparents, remember their journey of survival. Perhaps it was an Ellis Island story coming by boat like my grandparents. Or perhaps it was a border crossing from the south. Maybe it was a Dust Bowl story of surviving famine or generational abuse. Or maybe it is a story of surviving colonization, slavery, and carrying on traditions in the face of constant oppression and the threat of annihilation. These ancestries are the American story. And the most important thing we can do for ourselves and for our children is to never forget them. May our diverse ancestries bless our table this year. May our unique cultural traditions enrich our lives with abundance and connection to that which is so much greater than the people who gather around the table each year, but the people who came before them. May we learn how our grandmother could stretch out a harvest and put away food for all seasons, and how that meant your ancestors could eat well during lean times. And what does that mean for us today? And what skills and tools might we need to draw from that in these times where there may be more scarcity to come? May we remember those ancient stories of survival that speak a deep blessing to us now and in the years to come, discerning which ancestral wisdom we may need to draw from to light our way into our collective future. May we hear the voices of our culture and our ancestors speaking to us from age to age. And this year, may those voices be the source of our gratitude. May it be so. Amen. So, the table is set. We gather around it. This is how it all begins. There is room at the table for everyone. We could just keep adding leaves. Our table is filled with abundant gifts, the bread of life. Made of many different grains and other staples, bread of various kinds has been the foundation of life in many cultures and periods across history. The world's oldest bread ever found was over 14,000 years old and was made from wild grains because that was before people learned to farm. Most breads are baked, some are steamed or deep fried, many are leavened with yeast, some are flat or raised with soda. Members of our stupendous, amazing baking ministry, led by our fabulous board president, Barbara Begner, in one of her many acts of devotion. The cake, the marvelous homemade cakes we receive every Sunday, it's an incredible ministry, ministers to me more than you can ever know. So they have baked us bread, and more of you have baked us bread that is part of their ethnic heritage, or bread that is associated with one of their ancestors. The song says there is room at the table no matter who you are, no matter where you're from. And well, that is true, but it does matter who you are and where you are from. So, we want to know. Tell us in just a very few words where this bread came from.
I baked Irish brown bread in honor of my great-grandparents who were born in Ireland and my Irish ancestry.
The bread I brought, am I using this one? The bread I brought is made by a local person, and it is one of the best vegan and gluten-free breads that we've been able to find.
My grandfather was laid off during the Depression, and he sat home, evidently the entire Depression, while my grandma baked bread, took in laundry, sewed all the clothes for the family. I'm sure I got strength from that. It's good white bread.
So I made a loaf of bread that my family really loves out of the More with Less cookbook, which we found out about when my daughter started volunteering at a fair trade store here, and she brought home this cookbook for us.
So, sharing the true stories of who we are and where we come from, this is how we make the beloved community. So the baking ministry will now take these baskets and make their way out to the aisles. This is a family feast, just like the one in our story this morning. In a moment, they will pass around these baskets, or they're doing that now, each filled with an array of breads mentioned. The gluten-free and vegan bread will be over here by the Wonder Wall. If that is the bread you need, then go to that place to get your piece of bread. So as they pass the baskets, please take one piece and hold it until I offer a blessing. Then we will all eat it together. Anyone got bread? Okay. We take this bread of life into our bodies. May it nourish us for the work of our lives. May our lives be blessed by our ancestors' dreams for us. May the bread hold the memory of our deepest values, all that we long for and cry out for, that all people know what it is to be safe, to have enough, to be welcomed in our nation, that all people have enough food and drink and shelter in America and across the world, that all love is respected and supported everywhere, that the table will replenish our bellies, our hearts, and our souls, and that no matter what happens, we remember who we are. May this bread bless you. Be blessed. Amen.